was a fantastic year, and it ended disappointingly with a loss in the CAA final and then a lack of advancement, I should say, in the NCAA tournament by penalty kicks. But you know, it was a fantastic year, and it coming on the back of a very disappointing year in 2012. I really just was so proud of the group and really proud of the way that they rededicated themselves to doing all the little things that we thought it would take to be in that kind of position where we could compete for a CAA championship and an NCAA tournament bid. And so in many ways it was one of the most rewarding seasons that I've had as head coach. We were really trying to implement a new system, and it meant for a lot of our older players expanding their roles and really becoming students of the game, and trying to have more decisions to make, especially on the attacking side of things. And early on we struggled. By the end, I think everybody was bought into what we were doing, and we put in some very good performances against some good teams. So you know, overall we were happy with the spring season. We also had some young players come through and show some real progress, and show that they will be able to help us this coming year. Our goalkeeping situation is great. Mac Phillips started every game for us last year and did a remarkable job for a guy who had never, you know, played a college game at that point. Mac returns. He's made some progress throughout the spring. Alex Harrington is one of our co-captains this year as a redshirt fifth-year senior, and you know, Alex and Mac basically battled all spring. If we had to pick one coming out of the spring, I'm not sure who we would choose. So it'll be interesting to see how our preseason goes. All of those guys, all of our goalkeepers are, I think, working hard this summer and training well. In addition to those two, we have Bennett Jones, who has been a starter for us at different times during his career. And you know, Bennett, we hope, is kind of rejuvenated and ready to challenge for that top spot again. And then we have Logan Jones coming in as a true freshman, who is you know, someone that we went after pretty hard. We thought that Logan has qualities that will make him our starter at some point during his career, whether that's this year or later on. We do have a couple guys coming back that will hopefully provide some stability. Michael Tiemann in particular. Michael is a senior now and a co-captain, and another guy who has started every game in his career for us. And Michael will return as a central defender and hopefully really be kind of the anchor of the defense. Chris Dunn has really done a great job. He was sort of our unsung hero last year as a right back. He wasn't a traditional right back, but that was an area where we knew early in the season that we weren't really settled, and when we took Chris and moved him from midfield to the back, he did a great job. We're actually considering moving him back into midfield. We did that this spring with him, and he was exceptional, probably our best player throughout the spring season. But we have some guys, like I said, that will fill those holes. Ryan Perry, who transferred to us last year from Wake Forest, had to step in after a preseason injury that kept him out until early October. He stepped in October when we had an injury to Michael Tiemann, and Ryan played 3 games for us, 90 minutes each game, and we went, I think, 2-0-1 during that stretch of very important conference games. And so, you know, we have some confidence that Ryan can come in as a center back and do the job. We also have Alfonso Speed, who we were able to redshirt last year as a true freshman, and you know, Alfonso is also a guy that we think can get a job done for us, certainly either as a center back or a right back. And then Adam Crenshaw, who's another redshirt freshman. Adam really trained well all year long and was very good in our spring games. Adam's a left-footed attacking left back, very similar actually to Roshan Patel, and we think Adam's going to be ready right away to make a difference for us. We also have a couple of young players who could have an impact on things. Jeffrey Young is a true freshman, incoming freshman, who can play left center back or left back. He's very athletic, reads the game well, and you know, we think certainly will be a big player for us, whether that's this year or certainly in the future. And Corday Olabegi, who came to us last year as a freshman, we were able to redshirt him. And Corday is a very young sophomore now, or young redshirt freshman, and he's pretty versatile, can play in a lot of places, but one of the places where we'll definitely take a look at him is at right back. Probably the biggest change to our team from last year in terms of how we play is that for most of last year we played in a 4-4-2 formation. This year we intend to play in a 4-3-3, which changes the role a little bit for the wide players. Chris Perez was very influential last year as a wide midfielder. He's graduated now. So our midfield really will be kind of some combination of three players that are really more focused centrally. The rock of that group will be Marcus Luster. Marcus is probably one of the most consistent players that we've ever had in our program. He was a first-team All-Conference player last year in midfield, and really will be the guy that we count on to sort of solidify the midfield area. There are a number of players that could partner Marcus in midfield. Ryan Flesch started last year as Marcus's partner in midfield and played really well early in the season, picked up an injury that kind of slowed him down for the latter half of the year, but Ryan is a very good soccer player, and we expect him to bounce back this year. We have some young players who also got in last year a little bit and were influential. Jeff Bombell, who will be a redshirt sophomore this year, really hard-working guy, honest player, great fitness levels, gets up and down. Riley Spain is a redshirt freshman who is probably the most athletic of the group that we have in midfield, very tough tackling, reads the game well. We'll need to continue to improve kind of his range of passing, but he's a guy that we think will surprise some people this year, people that don't know much about him. And then I mentioned Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn, played right back for us all last year, but really is such a versatile and talented guy that we think that it may be best for the group if we move him into midfield. He has a knack for being able to play make from a deep-lying midfield position, and we think that he could be a really good balance to a guy like Marcus or Jeff O'Reilly. At the top of our midfield triangle in an attacking role will probably be one of our two best players from last year, either Jackson Eske or Josh West. Jackson and Josh really were our two starting forwards last year in our 4-4-2, but both are very creative, versatile guys, and we think that one of those guys will drop in and play at the top of the midfield triangle beneath our three forwards and really provide that creative spark that we need to create opportunities for those three forwards, whoever they are. And whichever guy doesn't play in that role will probably be up front. And then up front this year, again, making that transition from a 4-4-2 to a 4-3-3 means that there will be a lot more guys involved in that front line. The obvious choices will be Chris Albiston and either Josh West or Jackson Eske. All three of those guys were in our top four in goal scoring and in points last year, and we expect them to all have big years for us. Josh and Chris will be seniors and Jackson will be a junior. They've got a lot of experience. In addition to those guys, we have two fifth-year seniors, Zach Monabell and Aaron Baldwin, who both had very good springs this year. They've been key reserves for us in the past. Aaron suffered a little bit with injury during his career, but seems to be fully fit now, really for the first time, probably since he was a freshman, and had a very good spring season for us. We expect some big things from him. We also have fourth-year senior Andrew Kessler, who is a versatile guy. We've moved him around a lot. Last year we used him primarily as an outside back, but we think that we'll move him back up front this year as a forward, which is where we recruited him initially. And Andrew is a very good athlete who we think can add some goals for us as well. The other guy in that group who we think will have a big impact and you'll see a real improvement in his game is Riley Maw. He had a good freshman year last year for us, primarily coming off the bench and giving us a little bit of a lift with his athleticism and his toughness, his ability to get behind defenses and score goals. And we think that he is in a position where he'll have a big a big upturn in production. You know, he was a good player for us last year, but we think that you'll see it more in the numbers this year. And then in addition to those guys, we have 3 incoming freshmen who also could potentially factor in. William Eskay, who is Jackson Eskay's younger brother, is a very dynamic attacking player. And we think that he can have a role. If he doesn't break into the starting team right away, he can have a role similar to Riley Moe last year, where coming off the bench he provides a bit of a fear factor because of his pace and his ability to run by players and his ability to create chances out of nothing. We think that he can really change games in that kind of role if he hasn't broken into the starting team. There's also Christian Jones, who has exceptional pace, and I'm not sure that he'll be ready to help right away, but I think that, again, that you need some dynamic guys to sort of mix things up and get behind defenses, and Christian is certainly a guy that can do that. And then we also have Graham Guidry coming in, Graham had a really prolific year as a high school senior this year, and is probably the most versatile of that group of freshmen in terms of his ability to play in a number of different attacking positions. I think the conference will once again be strong. We were really pleased last year to get 3 teams in the tournament again, and that is certainly not an easy feat, especially when in recent years we've lost teams of the caliber of VCU, Old Dominion, George Mason, Georgia State, who also made the NCAA tournament, I think, in their last year in the CAA. And last year it was William & Mary, Delaware, and Drexel representing the CAA. And I think that there are some teams in the league that have the potential this year to challenge for NCAA tournament bids as well. I expect Delaware to be the front runner. Again, I think it's such a difficult task in soccer to score goals. They return, if not 2 of the best, if not the 2 best attacking players in the league, and then they complement those guys with some other very good attacking players as well. So I would expect Delaware to be up there. I think Elon, who was also an NCAA tournament team last year, will challenge in their first year in the CAA. It's always a tough adjustment for any team coming into the league, particularly a team coming from a conference like theirs where their travel was a little bit more limited, and now joining the CAA, where we're pretty much up and down the Atlantic seaboard. They return 2 very good attacking players, and I think that those guys will adapt quickly, and then Elon will be one of the top teams in the league. We have the personnel to have a similar year to the year that we had last year, but we're not satisfied with that. We want to be able to advance in the NCAA tournament. We want to win the CAA championship.